do when you are at second year of college? Study to get good marks or enjoy to just have some fun? Well, this person started off her journey in the second year of college when she earned her first check of rupees 4,000 by helping at an event at the back-end staff. She was in engineering college but did not enjoy it to the fullest. After that, she started pitching her ideas for her first business. But the pain and struggle to make it impactful pitch for that business gave birth to a new idea. She realized that there are lots of other entrepreneurs facing the similar issue. So in February 2017, it all started. This human being, Priyanka Madnani, started off the company called Easy to Pitch, the only company in India reaching 2 and 3 tier cities to help entrepreneurs have the right pitch at the right time to the investors to take their business to the next level. But the journey was not so smooth. She trusted various people at the beginning of her journey and made so many incorrect choices, which actually made her stronger day by day. She, along with her co-founder Nikhil Parmar, who are on a mission to help entrepreneurs pin down to the exact perfect pitch for their businesses to help them go to the next level. And they are soon going to be a 100-member company in the year 2021. They are not just helping entrepreneurs, but also employees too, intensifying humanity to the best possible extent. Welcome, Priyanka, to Intensify Humanity Podcast. And I'm really glad to have you here because, you have kicked off in a very different domain along with your co-founder, a domain which somebody might not even think of to make it as a business and help other as well. So welcome to the podcast once again.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's an opportunity of me to share my experiences and journey through your platform today.
Thank you. So Priyanka, at the beginning, I would just like to start off with this question. Why become an entrepreneur? Why didn't you go for a job? You were in engineering and all those things. So why an entrepreneur?
Sure. So I'll basically tell you that in my whole family, who is filled of entrepreneurs and businessmen, my dad, my uncles, my chachas, everybody, and being the only girl in the whole family who is known right now who is doing entrepreneurship, right, and who was doing business. So I was always more towards I wanted to do something of my own. I didn't do jobs, and I did do a job for my first internship, lead to the first job, and it ended there after in 2 years, right? But that gave me a realization that I'm not made for a job. I am made for a leadership position where I'm running a company of somewhat a proper team that you say, and converting into a company, right? So it happens somewhere where you be your own boss and you execute something what your ideas and concepts are. It's just that you need a validation, you do it and you get it validated. So that was all something what I wanted for myself.
Okay, so that is something, I would say, identity for yourself, not depending on any other person as well.
Yeah.
That's nice. Thank you for sharing that. So did you start off this journey alone? So what happened at the beginning of the journey?
Of course, I started this journey all alone because everything was new to me. I saw my dad struggling doing business for so many years alone and bringing us to that position that we are quite stable. Few years back. So when I'm seeing him, I understood that you have to be very much independent in your life, right? And to be independent, you are all alone. Nobody's coming to you, and helping you to earn something or build something, right? So I believe, yes, I was all alone, and I'm really happy that I was alone and took no support from anywhere. And but yes, gradually I understood that you need a team to build it big, right? So that's what I did. And since I started as one, and now you can see that we are a good team, right? So but yes, for a start, it's an individual thing. You have to figure it out what you're made for and what you can build.
That's something very important point you've highlighted. To start off alone actually gives you a lot of even courage to actually understand and know what all things you need to do. You mentioned that you have made some incorrect choices in the other places where I read, etc. So Can you just mention any of those incidences and some things that you will never forget, some lessons that you still carry forward?
So the biggest and the only one lesson I would want to share with you is, never hold anybody forcefully. No matter he's a co-founder, he's a team member, just cannot be emotional when it's business. It's professional life. You have to keep your personal life and professional life different. So the biggest mistake that I made is something where we understand, of course, we have blood relations, we have good friends, and we can always offer them to ask them to come and join us what we want to build. But you need to understand that it's never sure that they'll stay for long. You have to be prepared with it. Because when I suffered from my mistake, it's not a suffering, I would say. For some extent it was emotional suffering, but professionally, when it comes to professional grounds, I learned it that you have to stay apart from both of the faces, and you have to act very wisely when you're dealing with your close relationship, because you have to be prepared that they can break anytime when money comes in, right? So that kind of issues happened with me lot many times since I started. And that was a good thing that I learned so far. And yes, became stronger, as you said in the introduction. So every entrepreneur that comes to me and speak to me, I just say that, okay, you're finding a co-founder. First, note down what qualities that you want in your co-founder. Is that quality, or are these qualities fulfilled, no matter he's a blood relation, is a best friend, or is a new person altogether? Will that person would stay for entire life? Are you that confident with those checklists or that pointers? Then go ahead with the co-founder thing, because I did mistakes and I learned and gradually settled pretty well by those learnings. Even if I'm today hiring anybody for my team, I make sure that anybody is joining us for a long time, and I make sure, why? Because I'm ready with those pointers in my mind which I have to look for in anybody whom I'm hiring for my company. You cannot be emotional.
That is so true. That is so true that you have said keep the personal and professional life separate. And not just that, people should also align with your values that you have for the company and yourself. So, yes, that's absolutely, because I see a lot of people just take in people just to keep the relationship, be it relative, friend, just to be in the good books
Right.
and cannot say no. So most of the people just say, how can you say no? They are in your relation, they are this,
Right.
and the story goes on. So that's a very valid point you have shared. So easy to pitch. Was this your first project? Was this your first business? Or how did this idea even emerge about easy to pitch? What is it all about?
The name is so catchy, no? Easy to pitch. Yeah, so I'll tell you the story behind it. As you started with my introduction, the first thing that I started up with held me to land to easy to pitch. So when I started my first pitching, I was so naive. I had nobody who could guide me with how to communicate my first concept to anybody. But still, I tried because I got experience in my job of pitching, doing sales pitches, right? But when it comes to your own company, it's never like the same. You have to communicate what you want to create, what can become a $1 billion company, right? So in that phase, in that scenario, the type of pitches that you make to anybody or everybody, it's very very different, because you realize that when you get negative feedbacks. But why to reach at that point when you get negative feedback? You can always prepare well. And this is what I went through when I was doing pitches for my first startup. And eventually I learned that what are the things necessarily for making that easy to pitch successful with your first pitch, you know and easy to pitch. Why is name so catchy? Because see, I was just sitting in my veranda backside of my house, and I was finding anything something related to pitch, because this has a keyword, right? So easy to pitch, something came out of my mind, and I searched on Google domain, and it was there, and that's it. I bought it. And today anybody who knows about pitching would definitely know easy to pitch.
That is so true, because the name itself is so catchy, and not just the name. It also actually, in this three simple words, you also get the intention behind what the customer is going to get behind that.
Yes.
So, yes, it involves entrepreneurs. Why do you think? my next question is simple for all the entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs. Why do you think pitching is so important, and
Of
why it
course.
has to be perfect?
Really nice question. See, pitching is nothing but just whatever you're communicating should be understood by the person who's listening to you, right? Now, if I know I'm a founder, right, I can take endless time to tell you my concept, right? I'm so passionate about my idea. Even you are very passionate about your podcast, right? When we communicate as an entrepreneur, we can take hours and hours to tell about the story behind it, right? But when it comes to competition, and when we know that, like you and me, there are millions of more founders who are, competing to grab that opportunity of time from that investor or somebody who can listen to them, right? And in this kind of an busy times, busy era, we cannot, the people that like investors cannot afford that much time to listen to your story, right? So it's not even about what you're communicating, but how much time you take to communicate, how crisp you can become, or how simplification you can use in your pitch rather than making it too much of messy and complex, right? So these things are really very important to save the person's time to whom you're pitching and your time even, because if you're not pitching well, you are not engaging with anybody, you're not closing a deal. Even if you're selling a product in sales, we make a sales pitch, right? No matter in the world what you do, you need a pitch. It's just that the segments, the industry changes, that's all.
That is so powerful, because I'm sure that a lot of people just think about, this is a brilliant idea, this is a product, done. So they forget about the pitching part as well. There's something that needs to be all about communication. So you actually reminded me of something where I heard that if your idea you cannot um, explain within just a minute, and to a 5-year-old kid, if you can't communicate that, then that idea you just need to rethink, or basically that pitch you just need to rethink upon.
Agreed. I'll give you one more incident. There was one investor I would name. The point came in front of me from them was, you're just building another communication industry. You're just like in a communication organization where you're helping them in the communication. But no, sorry, I'm not just improving their English or Hindi. I'm making sure where they know what to pitch, what context should be there, and what crispiness should be there, or what should be the content that they should, even if it's financial valuation, it's number, it's how much they are raising or where they will be putting the money. Every logical and technical stuff that is needed in a pitch is a part of communication. So we are just not any other kind of a teacher telling them how you should reframe your sentence, but what you should put is also very necessarily to learn when you're going for a pitch.
So it is basically the business language.
Correct.
Language of the business, language of the entrepreneurs, if we say so. So yes, so this leads me to the next question. When you share about this incident, that what is the most hilarious, or maybe some incident or example that you've come across that you will never forget, or maybe it could also be something painful or hilarious, any incident that you
Yeah.
want to share?
I'll share you the recent instant one. I was talking to a founder, and the question was, I want to know how experienced your people are who can build my financial valuation. You know, and I actually, it's a funny thing for me because I, as a founder, have two concepts in my mind. Either 18 years of experienced person can become a billionaire or run a $1 billion company, or a dropout can run a $1 billion company, right? It's your choice as a founder. Who are you going with? Either you're going with a signatured one and can afford, that much amount of money to them, or you can go for people who are doing the same thing and doing better and can do better, right? And you're choosing them and we are giving you quality. So these kind of situations I face daily, where I'm talking about my credibility, where I have already proven, but still I'm keep on doing because it's important to know, in the sense of financial, it's a finance industry. कहते हैं ना, डॉक्टर जितना पुराना या टीचर जितना पुराना उतना अच्छा. Similarly, when it comes to numbers, more experienced person are needed, right? But the times have changed. Even when I started, I am not from a finance background. I am from engineering background, but I learned all these things because of which I'm building, making people successful in their funding stories, right? So this is kind of incident that happens regularly with me, but it's okay. I understand that this is also important thing that people look for. But now the time has changed. Investors definitely look for an authenticated data, but at the same time, it's more of a founder and the concept that they are proving. Finance बाद में भी change हो सकता है, बढ़ सकता है, कम हो सकता है. लेकिन आपका idea, आप जो execute कर रहे हैं आप, और आप क्या plan रख रहे हैं next 6 years में, that is very much noticed than what numbers you are projecting for next 8 years. That is kind of thing, but of course it's needed. It's very compulsory that we build. But this is kind of an incident I face daily, daily from founders as a founder.
Of course. But when you started off, what was the biggest challenge you faced? Was it awareness? Was it completely starting off in a complete new domain? Was it finance? What was it?
I'll tell you. So the problem was nowhere. The awareness is the biggest problem everywhere, where you need to understand as a founder that ये चीजें भी exist करती हैं. Because it's a reality, right? So many founders are struggling to get the right mentor who can guide them with the right pitch. But why are you wasting your time in finding that mentor? You don't need it. वो अपना, they'll take their own share, they'll take their own time, lot of things. And anyway, again, you are running a rat race that you need to run fast to reach any first come first something, that you need to reach any mentor for the validation of your pitch, right? So if I talk about the challenge that I faced, was only awareness. But for last 3 years, my biggest challenge and biggest task just was awareness, ensuring that first of all you don't go to the wrong people for what you want, and you're not wasting so many months on it, struggling and just scratching your head that nahi ho raha hai. But solutions are there. Even if I wouldn't have been there. Even any other founder can come and create one good pitch. I know that. It's just that a kind of bit of guidance they need, or because you see what I say, there are Google templates already in the website for pitch decks. Why I was needed, there are pitch decks already. People are still getting rejected, right? Templates Google slide में होने के बाद भी rejections हो रहे हैं. So you have to understand that it's not about what template design or what things you are using from Google. It's again about a unique story every founder should have to showcase in a proper reframed manner, right? So awareness was the biggest challenge that I saw. But anyhow, in last 3 years, I ensured that I struggled day and night. Every Facebook group, every LinkedIn group, every WhatsApp group, I'm just talking about pitching, just to bring awareness.
So when you say about reframing and that storytelling part, so what do you think is the psychology behind what goes on in the mindset of the people who are about to pitch their ideas? What is the psychology that is required, but what is the psychology that is in reality?
Yeah. So talking about psychology of these founders who are going to pitch. So everybody goes and asks for funding, and you understand that mine hai paisa hi chal raha hai, that I want fund. Due to this kind of focus that I want fund, they just don't see where they stand. Either they need it or not. This is the biggest problem in the investment industry, that investors are pissed off, right? Investors are curating those startups when they are doing the filtration level. But we as experts know that they don't need funds. They are just wasting their time and their mind in talking about funds, right? They can do wonders, or we can sit with. That's why mentors are, no, we are sitting with them, telling them ye karo, paise ke piche kyun bhag rahe ho. So every time when they are pitching, they are just focused on money, which is not wrong, but you should be in that capacity that you actually require that money, and then you will be able to create the right pitch. Otherwise, just it makes no sense that you started with just an idea and just you're rushing out for funds, and you don't know where is the know about for the next 3 years.
That's really something you've pointed out, that if people start understanding this aspect, then maybe a lot of people can understand what is needed to put out that right pitch.
Exactly.
As people, as you said, people are only from one direction and one aspect, that is the funding. For what? Many of them don't even know exactly.
Correct. Exactly.
That's definitely one aspect. So you are going to be 100-member company, which is definitely a milestone. So how was your journey with, being a founder, not just founder, but also hiring people, making them work in the company. So how was that experience, you would say?
Yeah. So when I started hiring people, my first experience was same that I told you, the emotional stuff. But that one incident that happened, I actually moved on and realized that when you're hiring your team, it's always a long vision thing to be there to connect with that person. If you're coming to my office, you'll see every people are young chaps who are ready to create. Might be they leave me and create their own startup. I always wanted that people who had that creating capabilities, who can leave me and create their own startup and guide, those founders as per, that creative capabilities, right? So no matter they are graduates, they're MBAs, or they are finance CFA level people, I always ensure the number one point that they have the creative capabilities to create something. Number two, they are solving the problems on their own. They are not running from the problems. They are solving. They are finding solution to that on their own. Third, of course, they are aligned to the vision for long. They are just not for money. They are something to something that they would require, so sorry, something that they would require to grow, and something that they that help them in their own personal interpersonal skills, right? So these are few things that I take care of when I'm hiring. And of course, when I talk about the leaders, the kind of categories changes. We want leadership qualities which is different, but yes, these points are always the highlight of it.
Absolutely, I can understand, because when you hire people and all, they should actually align with not just a vision, but also it's like not working as an employee, but working as an intrapreneurs in the company. So yes, so
Right.
let's ask you something different. What would Priyanka be if not an entrepreneur?
My God, this is my favorite question because I've started thinking of this thing since last 8 to 9 months. If I exit this, or I'm just on the board of directors, I'm not as a CEO working next, say, 10 years. I will definitely open Zumba. I will open a Zumba academy where I am the coach professionally, and I have good people doing those taking those Zumba classes.
So you love Zumba?
Yeah. I am fan of dancing. I love dancing. I did go for a lot of auditions also for DID and all. I went to some extent, but I left it between. But yes, my another passion is dancing. So for sure, Zumba.
Okay, so one is for sure, we know that it is for dancing, for Zumba, but what does Priyanka do when she's not working, apart from dancing and Zumba?
I watch a lot of colors in videos, so I am very fond of creativity things. I like colors. I like a lot of artistic things that are happening in front of me, whether it's canvas painting, whether it's, even if you talk about nail art, or even when I talk about, it's everything that has colors is something very close to me. Because playing with colors is something, a kind of, I have read it somewhere that for your meditation, there are mandala art and a lot of things. If you watch them, you will definitely get a peace of mind, which I believe, and I follow it when I'm not working, because that gives me a lot of peace,
So basically, everything related to artistic side creativity.
yes.
Beautiful. I can totally resonate with it. So, yeah. So, what is that one message you would like to give to all the entrepreneurs out there?
Sure. So I would say that no matter an entrepreneur is a kid, is a student, like nowadays even students are entrepreneurs. So for me, entrepreneurship is a journey where you have to give out everything. Everything means whether it's your heart, it's soul, it's your energy, everything. You might lose n number of people in your life which were close to you. I can say that I don't have much of friends, but I know that what I have gained so far would accompany me for life, right? So I believe that if you're an entrepreneur, have or want to become an entrepreneur, please build that mindset pehle se hi, that you have to give everything to this journey. To, of course, the response, the results would be not too soon, but it would be very sweet, very very sweet. So just be passionate and stay consistent to it.
Absolutely, I agree to that point, because there is nothing known as part time entrepreneurship. Either you are all in or all out. So, yes. And
Yes.
you should be willing to lose, let go, sacrifice whatever is needed for it, and
Yes.
not compromise for anything. So, yeah,
Correct.
thank you for sharing that, definitely. So, how can our listeners connect with you?
Sure. So I'm definitely all-time reachable on LinkedIn. Anybody could search Priyanka Madnani or Startup Talk on Google, YouTube, any platform. They search my name. I'm always available. And the plus point is I never forget to revert to anybody who is reaching my LinkedIn, especially the entrepreneurs who even want to validate their ideas.
Amazing. That's amazing. So, people who want to easily pitch their ideas can definitely get in touch with Easy to Pitch, Priyanka or Nikhil, through LinkedIn or their website as well. So, this is Priyanka, who is actually intensifying humanity from various aspects to her best possible extent, along with her co founder, Nikhil Parmar. So, congratulations, Priyanka, and thank you so much for coming to Intensify Humanity podcast and all
Thank you.
to your upcoming milestones and the journey.
Thank you so much for inviting me for a platform. I hope it helps to many more who are building themselves as entrepreneurs.
Great, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.